The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
I just heard this story from a friend of mine last week. Oshi Langzam told me the story. It's an ending. I want to end with this. It's an amazing story. And he said the story is, I'm sure some of you have read Lieutenant Birnbaum's books. And I see him every time I'm in Eretz Yisrael. He davens Vasik, and I always see him there. He's an amazing man. He's written many books. This is not in his book. So the story goes like this, that there was this man that was in, I believe he was in Beit Lagan. He went to daven in Beit Lagan, and he walks into shul. An American guy walks into shul, and he sees that a man is davening in the corner, beautiful blonde man with real blue eyes. And sitting next to this man are these two little boys, like Chassidish a little bit, with payas, but they looked very not Jewish. Blue eyes, blonde hair, very Aryan, very not Jewish. So he's watching this guy daven with his two kids. It's like something magnificent. So he walks. Lieutenant Birnbaum was davening in that meeting. So he walks over to Lieutenant Birnbaum and he asks him, "Wow, I never saw like this guy. Is like really beautiful. Like who is he? Like, do you know anything about him?" So Lieutenant Birnbaum says, "Oh, Avraham. You want to know about Avraham? I'll tell you about Avraham. His name is Avraham. I'll tell you about Avraham." He says the following story. Amazing, amazing story. He says, This man Avraham is the Baal Tshuva. And his story is as follows. Avraham grew up in Germany. He's a German guy. This man, is a German guy. And he grew up in Germany with his mother. His mother told him that his father had died. He was an orphan. He grew up with his mother. And they had a very good relationship. He began to study in the German college about the Holocaust. And he found the Holocaust very interesting. So he decided one day he's going to fly to Israel. He's going to go to this place called Yad Vashem that talks about the Holocaust. And he went to Yad Vashem and he studied it. And he fell in love with Israel and he fell in love with Judaism. And to make a long story short, it's very late, he ended up becoming a ger. I think he went to Or Sameach, or maybe went to Aish, I'm not sure where. He became a ger and he was very, very excited. They read him a shidduch, a very nice girl, also a ger. And it came to the day of their chuppah, and he invited his mother from Germany to come. And she wasn't anti-Jews or whatever. She came, and he sat down, like before the wedding, they had a couple of hours. He said, "Mom, I'm getting married. You never talked to me about Dad, about Papa. Who was he? How did he die? Like, what did he used to do?" She goes, "It's your wedding day. Let's not talk about Papa." He says, No, I'm getting married. I'd like to know who my father was." She said, "Well, if you really want to know the truth, Papa never died." He said, "Excuse me?" He said, "Papa didn't die." "Oh, you're divorced?" He goes, "No, I'm not divorced." "So where's Papa?" He says, "Papa's in prison." "For so long?" "Forever." So what do you mean Papa's in prison forever? He says, "Well, you're German, and Papa was in the Nuremberg trials. He was a Gestapo agent, and he killed thousands and thousands of Jews. He was found guilty, and he was put into prison for life." You can't imagine this Avraham, who became a Jew, became a ger, because he studied what the Holocaust, what the Nazis did to us, to be told that day of his wedding that his father was one of those Nazis, was beyond him. But it was his wedding day, and he handled it, and he told his mother, "Ma, let's forget that we ever had this discussion. I don't want to ever hear his name again. I don't want to ever hear about him." He got married. She went back to Germany. A few years later, his mother calls him. We'll call him Chaim. I don't know what his name was exactly. Maybe it was Chaim. No, his name was Avram. I'm sorry. He said, "Avram? Avram? No, because I remember he's Avram. You got to come to Germany now." He says, "Why?" She said, "Papa is dying. He only has a couple of weeks left. He's dying, and I think you need to make peace with him for yourself." He said, "Ma, I am not going to meet a man who killed Jews. I am not interested. Let him rot." She said, "Listen to me. I'm your mother. You need to make peace. You say whatever you want to say to him. You need to make peace." He said, "On one condition. I want to take my two children with me. I want to show my Papa, that Nazi Gestapo, I want to show him that he didn't destroy the Jewish nation. I want him to see his Jewish grandchildren with little payas. I want him to see that the Jews will live forever. She said, no problem. Bring your children. So, he takes his two children. He goes to this German jail where his father is dying. He walks into the room. This German man is sitting there. This boy sits down. Avram sits down with his two children. And he's just looking at his father. For 20 minutes, they don't say one word. All of a sudden, Avram jumps up. You murderer! You killer! You disgusting, excuse of a human being! I have my peace. I see your face. I hope you rot in Gehenna. But I have to ask you something. What did you ever do to deserve to have two grandchildren like this? You're a murderer. You're a killer. You're a cold-blooded Nazi. Why would Hashem give you two grandchildren like this? This Nazi, Yimach Shemai, looks at his son Avram and says the following. I was a Gestapo agent. Our job was to round up Jewish children and Jewish men and women and kill them. We came to a town in Poland. We went house to house. We pulled all the Jews out. All the women, all the children, all the fathers. We put them into the center of the town and we shot them all. So my commandant said to me, you know what? We never checked the barn behind that house. Go, check the barn, make sure there's no one hiding there. He said, I walked into that barn, I opened the door, and I saw out of my right eye that in the corner there were two sets of little eyes under a haystack. And I knew right away, I could see it was a little girl and a little boy. And I don't know why to this day, I turned around and I closed the door and I walked away. If you want to know why I have two grandchildren like this, it's because I saved two Jewish children. I could have had them both killed, and I don't know why I didn't. That's the story. If a Nazi, murderer with Jewish blood on his hands, his reward is to have two beautiful Jewish grandchildren and a son that's Jewish because he saved two Jewish children. Alachas kama v'kama, surely, ladies, the reward for a Jewish person who saved Hashem's children. Take it on yourself this year. You don't have money, you can't support organizations that help bring Jewish children back to Hashem. Give your time. It doesn't have to be an organization. It's your cousins that aren't religious. It's your friends, it's your aunts, it's your uncles. Look into your own family. Bring two sets of eyes back to Hashem. Two little children. The reward for this Nazi was to have grandchildren like this. Imagine the reward for your children and grandchildren. Take on yourself not only to fix your Beis HaMikdash, but to help others. Tonight's Eicha we end. Hashivenu Elecha Hashem v'nashuva Chadesh Yemenu Kikedem. We say, Hashem, return to us, and we'll return to you. But God, you got to take the first step. In every single person's life, if you think back to some point when you needed Him, He took the first step. You just have to focus on it. And if you realize He took the first step, then you got to take the next step. And if you take the next step, Hashem will take the next step, and then you'll take the next step, and all of a sudden, like the Kruvim, as it says, even when the Beis HaMikdash was burning, they were intertwined with each other. Just take that step.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org